My colleagues are here, Teve Tiaf and Apollo Semoagu.
Amechi, good morning, and good morning, dear listener. It's good to be here once again. While the campaigns are going on in the various by the various political parties, let's not forget that the issue of intra-party crisis are still there, and the issue of party and state is still there. Looking at the DG of the campaign, presidential campaign council of Labour Party, Doyin Okukpe, honorably resigning yesterday. That's a good one for a person of his stature in the campaign team, for you to have said you don't want to cause a distraction to the campaign train, and you have thrown in the towel because of the issues surrounding your financial dealings in the past. I think that speaks volume, and we encourage such things to happen not only in the party level. It should happen also in the state level, in the public service, which you see people honorably throwing in the towel if they feel their presence will sink the ship, if they think their presence will sink the boat.
Even if it will raise some moral burden.
Yeah, moral burden, yes. So this is a call on the other political parties that are jubilating, celebrating, that that is not how it should be. You should thank the man for throwing in the towel at this point, at this time, and I also see reasons why he did that. It can happen to anybody in any political party. Somebody described it as a what do you call it now? As a glorious mistake or something like that.
Honest mistake.
Honest mistake. Well, it's not for you in the other political parties to keep celebrating. You should learn from this example that Doyin Okukpe has shown. But at the same time, I must say that a Labour Party that brands itself a presidential candidate as go and verify. I don't know why they didn't verify who they were putting on that seat before they appointed him. They should have done more verification to know that yes, we have the image we are portraying. All our members have the image, and going forward, who will replace Doyin Okukpe? It could be in the long run a good run for the Labour Party, because probably to help them to balance up better for some of that supporters that are waiting for them, because you have the chairman of the campaign of the party from the south, you have the presidential candidate from the south, and you have the DG campaign from the south. So maybe this is a good opportunity for them to balance up. But if that will not hurt their supporters elsewhere, Doyin Okukpe has his supporters. Who will replace him is a big problem and a big issue for them to resolve, because their supporters are waiting and other political parties are waiting. If they make a mistake here, I don't know how it will be going forward to February 25.
Well, Doyin Okukpe's lawyer also said they will be appealing that judgment. And on the issue of verification, well, there's the presumption of innocence principle in Nigeria. There are so many politicians that have ongoing cases with the anti-corruption agencies, but we can't presume them guilty till they are pronounced guilty. There are so many of them among all the political parties, so we still presume them. We are aware that there are cases ongoing, but till a competent court says you're guilty. David.
Amechi, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. Maybe we should also just take this news coming in. The Speaker of the Taraba State House of Assembly, Professor Joseph Kunini, has resigned his appointment. He's citing personal reasons, and already at the session plenary this morning, presided over by the Deputy Speaker, a new Speaker has been elected. He's a former Chief Whip of that Assembly, John Kizito Bonzani, representing Zing State Constituency. He is now the new Speaker of Taraba State House of Assembly. Amechi, the INEC, I hope INEC is learning from its experience and the past. I recall that in the FCT, I think in 2015, the commercial taxi drivers left INEC stranded. They didn't move the materials, they didn't move the personnel, and that affected that election. Eventually went into a second day of voting. We also saw almost a similar situation in Anambra State, where after I think everybody was paid and everything, and then for security reasons, the drivers did not show up. some of us, based on experience and what has happened in the past, we've recommended perhaps INEC needs to take a look at it in subsequent elections. You need 100 vehicles. I know that 100,000 vehicles. I know that MDAs across the country, state, maybe we may not include state, but even at the federal level, there is so much that can be tapped into. And some of us have recommended that, can we, because we are working with different stakeholders, security, looking for everybody, and all of that. Can we look at a situation where there can be deployment? Because one, the drivers are workers of the government. You know where they are, you can track them, you can, all of that. What we have been told, what we're told in Anambra was that, look, chips tracking device was plugged in the vehicles and that they were being tracked and all of that. But to me, there's much more than that. If somebody wants to sabotage, so anything can go wrong at any material point.
The vehicle can suddenly develop for.
But if it's a government worker, the person knows that even his source of livelihood is at stake, and you can hold the person responsible. You can even be disciplined according to the rules of the civil service.
Are you serious,
and all of that. I remember that before now, during the aborted Republic, the then NEC was making use of even civil servants, teachers, government vehicles, as it were. So I think we need to take a second look at that, because whether we like it or not, there's a possibility of anything.
What of the 4,200 boats? Are we going to ask the Navy to deploy their gunboats, or the NEMASA, the inland waterways, if they have to, we also deploy them? What of these drivers? Can we get these vehicles to every part? Do they know the terrain? Can they circumvent? Is it that INEC is using NURTW because these are routes they apply every day and they know how they can get to those places?
Amici,
add something.
I have concern on the direction TV is going. You are telling us to involve civil servants to convey electoral materials when they are being led by a government in power who has a candidate in the election. INEC is independent, and it uses its independence to employ not only road transport workers, union of road transport employees and others, and bringing them together. And if you go that way of using public servants, you will see more than 100,000 vehicles on the road. They will tell you they will be campaign for their political party in power. Whether I like it or not,
the vehicles be up to 100,000.
Now,
one
question that INEC need to answer that some of us have asked is, why do you always limit it to road transport workers union? And we know that one. What about the helicopter? How many number of helicopters do you use at this point? Now you have not told us that, and you have not even involved the workers there. And the 100,000 vehicles you're talking about, how do you want to deploy them? Are you also going to deploy them to the security arm, or they will have their own? Or is that inclusive of the one the police and whoever in the security section will be using? So if you have 774 local government and you have over how many 8,000 polling units or centers, so the
120, almost 130,000 polling units.
Good. So you have 100,000 vehicles. How are you deploying them, and to who?
Okay, they may wish to respond.
Yeah, we've covered elections over time, and we know that even in this election, the Nigerian Air Force will be involved in airlifting of materials.
And they disappointed the other time.
You can't say they disappointed, because from what we also learned, INEC did not get them involved. I spoke directly with the then Air Force spokesperson. INEC did not get them involved directly until the last minute, and they had to. It was more of a rescue mission that they were, drafted in, to help. Where the logistics, remember the logistics issue, collapsed flat.
But the military, is it not an institution that responds, that is trained to respond to emergency situations? And like if there is a foreign invasion of Nigeria, don't we have a mechanism put in place within the military to respond to
which is what they did, in that instance, and were able to have the elections within the time frame, I think there was a postponement by 1 week or so, that we were able to have that election. It just involves carrying them along, and for the boats and all of that, the Navy is there.
No,
Do you have
but you know the issues we have.
4,200?
You know the issues we have had with elections in the past, where you say the elections are over militarized. If you bring in military, you are militarizing the election. And you know the military man, once a soldier stands in front of you,
for
you are shaking.
distribution of logistics.
You have police. The police have helicopter now. They have.
How many?
I don't know, but they have the police. There's sea police.
You can count.
Air police.
No, you can count the number.
Police
of
is
the
in charge of
helicopters
civil
the police
activities
have
like this.
on your fingers. You can count them on your
It's
fingers.
not of my business whether they have 2 or 3, but it's a civil activity, and if you go just hook, line, and sinker to involve the military, you are militarizing the election, Amici. And if you say
Tell me shaking.
no, you are militarizing the election.
Abulu,
The police have helicopter that can fly.
These are sensitive election materials. And just 2 days or so ago, the INEC chairman, what did he say? He was asking the National Assembly members to classify, INEC staff, INEC facilities, and all the election materials as there was what he used, emergency or a kind of a security risk, high security risk, so that they will be treated as such. We are not saying the military should move into
Pulling
units and all of that. It's logistics and movement, of these materials. If not for security reasons, why are we going to take sensitive materials to central bank? Why? Because there we also have armed persons that are guiding because of the security.
The last few governorship elections, these materials were not stored in central bank.
Were put at the
local government.
Was not airport facility.
Yes.
Airport facilities are moved.
But I'm hearing we have to use the CBN this time around.
From more indication.
Has NFL purged himself on those ambitions? Okay, and let's go for a break. When we come back, your main analysis. Do stay with us.
What is that?
Well done.